Well, hey guys, it's Gerald and Scott back with Lab Talks.
Here we go.
If you watched our last video, we actually did not panic when one of our cameras went out. So today we only have one camera, so if it goes out, you'll never see this. But
oh well,
that's vision for you. And today we're talking about
vision board.
Yeah, because you have an event at the lab about vision. That's kind of what started this, and I looked at this, and so tell us about vision board.
Wait a minute, I want to know. You got to throw this in. You just told me about vision board as like the top 1%. It's like because I'm going to use this Saturday night. So,
you want the stats on that?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So let me just make a confession. Okay. Let me make a confession. So I've been using vision boards for a long time.
Okay.
But I've never told anybody.
Why not?
Because I thought they were silly. I mean, I really did. In the entrepreneur space, I've just never heard people talk about them. And it's always seemed very dorky. I mean, I'm just telling you. So like when you first mentioned it, I was, I thought, I didn't like the idea, but then I thought, I've been doing it for years.
Okay, let me ask you this. Is it because you think it's like a girl thing and only girls do it?
Yes.
I knew, because I think the same way.
Because on sales teams, it's sometimes they do them,
right.
And I work with a lot of sales teams, and it's always the girls.
Yeah, the girls just go, oh, this is a great idea.
They're really creative. But so when you first mentioned it, I started doing some research. Okay. So here's some of the stats that I came up with, and so Inc. magazine just did a whole thing on vision boards.
Okay.
For entrepreneurs. And so what they said is, first, 80% of Americans have zero goals.
80%?
Yeah, not so good. Okay. 16% of Americans have goals, but not in writing.
Okay.
So they have these ideas, but they've never committed them to writing.
They consider them goals, but they're not written
they're
down.
ideas.
Okay.
They're fantasies, right?
Okay.
4% have written down the goals only to never look at them again. And I'm telling you, Scott, almost every CEO I've ever dealt with, especially like midway through the business, they have a business plan, and they're like, well, let me get it. I think it's in my basement.
Right.
Because
I think I can find it somewhere.
Yeah, it's not a navigating chart. And then 1% have written goals, and they look at them on a regular basis. And the tie-in is that same 1% happen to be millionaires.
That is eye-opening. When you told me that, I was like, that really is eye-opening. So for all us guys that go, that's a girl thing, it really is significant. And
I got to get over that. I mean, I still put mine, you know what, it's time to come out of the closet.
Okay.
Because my vision boards are actually
Are they in the closet?
In a closet in my office.
Okay.
And in the morning, I pull them out when I pray.
So you do get them out, and that's what we talk about. So this is not just like this vision board, and you do it at the beginning of the year, and you go, at the end of the year, you go, wow, I wonder how much I.
Yeah, Leslie just told me that I can't thumbtack them to the walls for aesthetic reasons, because I have them all over the place. And she told me, take those down.
Okay. Okay.
So tell me about, where did you get the idea for vision board yourself?
Well, we started years ago. We, the lab was a vision board to begin with, and I think that's really what started it. And here's the deal: it was my wife, it was Tracy that started this whole thing. And that's the vision board for the lab. And then, of course, we've got. Well, this is part of it. I don't know how well you can see it, but these are some of the ideas that we've got for the future.
Well, there was 2 or 3 of these. We could only find one this morning.
Right.
But if we could show you the inside of the lab facility here. There's these vision boards that Tracy had some time back,
right?
And there was nothing in here,
right?
And from these vision boards, now it's really an improvement. And then this one is part of the vision. This is her latest vision board. We have a ton of these.
Yeah.
You brought in an architect to draw your vision for kind of next phase.
But the interesting thing is that what you just showed is that what this came from is another vision board, which was just a bunch of pictures that she cut out and put together. And so, the reason I wanted to do vision board for people is like, here we are, we're getting into February, and it's like, oh, it's already too late. It's like, it's never too late.
It's not too late.
It's never too late, and we need to keep it continually in front of us. What is it? Write the vision and make it plain. Habakkuk 2:2.
Yeah.
Write the vision, make it plain, so that a herald, somebody that proclaims it, can run with it. And the idea that I always got from that is, so you write the vision, make it plain. So what you're doing is you're continually keeping it in front of you. To me, that's what that means.
Absolutely.
And so I've not only I've got my vision board's just kind of small because, I wanted to put it up in our bedroom, and Tracy said, no. So anyway, it's smaller. But what I do have along with that is what we talk about, the 6,000 plus promises. It's like I find promises that go with that, and that's what I dwell on. I dwell on the promises. I pray over the plans and the purposes that we have, and then they get the picture, because 80% of us are visual learners anyway.
There's that saying, a picture's worth, what is it?
1,000
words.
Yeah.
So Caroline, what's her last name?
Oh, Carolyn Leaf.
Carol
Leaf.
Yeah, Carolyn Leaf.
Yeah.
Which is she's a really smart lady.
Yeah.
She's a scientist.
She's really good.
Okay,
yeah.
She's a scientist. She says a picture's worth like 30, I'm making up this number, but it's like 30 million words, because that's what a picture does in your brain. Mm-hmm. And it actually creates, and this is what this article from Inc. magazine said. They said that when you have a dream board or a vision board, what you're really doing is visualization rewires your brain.
Oh, that's true.
So here's something interesting, Scott. On mine, and what the word, I wrote this down. It's an internal GPS system. So whatever you see, you start to become that. Mm-hmm. And so on my boards, what I have is images that I've cut out of magazines or different things that represent something. And then underneath we have the scriptures that go along with that. And then I even have a vision board that's just solid scriptures. Right now there's about 7 scriptures that are really like my foundation for this season in my life. And so I've printed them out, and I have those just like side by side. Okay. And what happens is, when I'm envisioning scripture, what would be another word for envisioning scripture? Meditation, right? Yeah. When you're meditating the word, you're really looking at a scripture, and you're envisioning, or if you've received that scripture by faith, then you're kind of like, it's like you've ordered something, you placed your order in Amazon, and you're looking at the pictures until it comes. Right. And that's really what it is. So these, and when you mentioned that, and we were talking that day, and it was still kind of poo-pooing the idea in my head, even though I'm a closet vision board person. Right. And but I thought, in my earlier days, I had a lot of cars, and I was a car guy. And so this is before internet. So in my bathroom, I would have brochures. Right. Car brochures. And my wife would always joke. I could always tell what car, I'd start out with 10, and then I'd get rid of 5, and whoever made it to the finish, and so, without getting graphic, that's what I was looking at. Yeah. And you start to build the desire for that. And so I think, isn't that the whole idea behind like Pinterest? Right. Oh, yeah. I have Pinterest boards. I don't know whether that's a guy thing or whether I should be doing that. I have Pinterest boards. But I do have. Yeah. I've got Pinterest boards. There's certain boards that I've got that are reminders. I don't go through them as often as what I do with this. I got the scriptures I go through, and I got through the pictures that I have cut out. I go through those daily. The Pinterest I don't go through as often, but they're reminders, because what I'm trying to rewire my brain to focus on what my goals are. And whatever you focus on, you become. And it's interesting, because I have 2 types of vision boards. I have things that are around purpose and my assignment, but then I just have others that are full of goals and stuff. And both are okay. Right. Like I still have a couple cars I want, and so I have some pictures of those. Nothing wrong with that. No, because the thing is that God tells us we could have the desires of our heart. Yeah, and especially when our desires line up with His will, which are His desires. I think that's like that's the money right there, or the magic. If there's a formula, you can't do better than aligning yourself with God's will. Okay, let me run off on a sidetrack for just a moment, because this is one of the things that you and I talk about, and it just irritates us.
So you hear these people say, well, God doesn't give you what you need or what you want, only what you need. And it's like, I got to tell you something. I love my kids.
Yeah.
And I don't ever sit there and go, well, I'm only going to give you what you need and not what you want. I sacrifice to give them what they want. Yeah. Not because I'm trying to spoil them, but because I love them so much. It's
right.
Like, okay, so then the Bible talks about if you, though you're evil, want to give good gifts, how much does your Father in heaven want to give you good gifts? And we've talked about this before. It's like God is an extravagant God. I really think He does. Like, I guess you could get spoiled, but it's like, I think He comes pretty close to spoiling us. I mean, I really believe He wants to bless us.
He does, and you know, if you love your kids no matter what. So even if there's been any periods of your kids' lives where they're not on good behavior, you never stop loving them, but the rewards might not be as good. You know, if your kids, when they were 12 years old, if any of them were little brats or something like that, you may not reward them.
Sure.
Okay, so I think it's the same thing. God always loves us. When we're obedient, He lavishes things on us. Not perfect, but I really think it's motive. I really think it's motive, and so that's the way I look at the vision boards. Now, you could have people, and so I know people that do. I'm thinking of sales departments that put together a vision board, but then they never have the diligence to carry it out. So the vision board in itself won't do anything if you don't have the diligence that follows.
Discipline.
But I think with me, Scott, it keeps me focused on what on the path that I'm on. And you know, when I was talking about the car brochures in the restroom, the part that I neglected to talk about is every single time I did that, I ended up with that car. And there's been many times.
So He just really likes you.
He does. You know, there was one time, okay, I got to tell you, there's two times that I can think of in my life when I wanted a sports car. Okay. Now, you know, as a married guy, just, you know, you got some kids, we're saving for college educations and all this, you know, all this kind of stuff. I was like, unless Leslie gives me the thumbs up, I'm not getting anything. But I have this desire, so I can think of two times when I had a desire for really high-end sports cars. And I went to God and I said, look, I don't need these cars. I don't need these cars. I know I don't need, but I've got my life sorted out. I have it in order. And so if you'll allow me, if you don't think I'm going to go nuts with with the sports cars or something, and you make it so that my wife gives me the thumbs up, because that's one of the first barriers. Of course. And so those two times, and there's probably more. I mean, when I went and got those, when I ended up with these sports cars, and one of the times it was miraculous how it happened. It was just miraculous how it happened. And it was in a business deal. I got a client to buy me a brand new Jag convertible.
Did you really?
Yeah. And this was so expensive. At the time, it was about 90-something thousand that I thought, oh, Leslie's never going to go for this. The other sports car was a lot less. But at the time, you know, and 90,000 is a lot now, but it was even more in 2007, I think is when I got it.
Okay.
And so I said, Lord, I really want this car. I really want this car, you know. Show me how I could have it. And He gave me an idea. And so in this negotiation I had with this client, that was an old Italian guy that used to drag out negotiations with me, because I was younger and he knew he could wear me out. And after a week or two, he'd know that I just wear out and I just settle, and he could go forever. So I was giving in slowly and giving in slowly. And then right when he thought he had the big deal, guess what I did? What I did, we have 9 minutes left. That's what you're looking at.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. And so at the very end, this idea God gave me, I threw it in there, and He says, no problem. And He got me that Jaguar. I mean, it's really amazing. So God gives us the desires, and I'll tell you, when I have a vision board, I'm making sure that I'm going to God and I'm saying, look, if there's anything on here that I shouldn't have or can't handle that's not your will, let me know and I'll remove it. I mean, so it's really got to be
really
the motive.
Obedience, and there's a listening.
Yeah, it's not just if you make a vision board, everything's going to work out. There's more to it than that. But the challenge, just wrap it up for today, the challenge for you guys out there is if you've never done a vision board, do it. Get some images. If you want, get some scriptures, put them on there.
Yeah.
And then every single day, look at those things. Start out in the morning, look at those things. And in the comments down below, in the description, we'll put in some scriptures that go along with this. Yeah. Anything else to add?
The only thing I would add is that Romans 12, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So what's going on with this, with the visualization and the vision board? You're transforming your mind, because you're transforming your mind from it can never happen, or I can't have this, to the possibilities. And for us, when we follow the scriptures and follow the promises that God's given to us,
so we have to change our thinking to go along with these things.
Which that's their TDR. Someday we'll talk about that again, because I think that needs to be a good reminder.
Okay, guys, thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next time.